been ages since I posted anything to my YouTube channel, maybe over a year. I thought that I would catch you up on what I'm doing in the Art Lab Association. So this is my monthly club that I've got over on Lucy's Art Lab. I will leave the link for you below. And we have been doing a ton of lessons. There's been so many lessons there. If you joined today, you would get, I don't know how many lessons, loads of lessons, all the back lessons that you can do. And so I thought what I would do is try and get up to speed on my YouTube channel by posting a few more videos, and I'm going to give you some sped up versions of a couple of those lessons so that you can get a little flavor for what they are. And the first one that I'm going to show you is our study of William Morris's The Strawberry Thief, which is this one here. It's in gouache. So we had super fun doing this. We did our own version of The Strawberry Thief, and then in the next lesson, which I'm not going to have in this video, we did our own design. So our own William Morris inspired design in gouache, but a completely original one. So one that wasn't a copy of Morris. So at the moment in the art lab, what we're doing is we are doing studies of artists, where every month we look at an artist in depth and we do our own version of one of their famous paintings, or maybe even two of their famous paintings. And then the following lesson, we are doing our own version of the same style of art, but a completely original thing. And this is super important because it means that if you study any artist, that you can do this, that you can learn to figure out and dissect how they make their art, what they do to make their art, how they might layer up their colors or even mix their colors or apply their colors. And then you can apply it into your own style so that you're not copying them anymore, which is the thing that all of us strive for. So I thought that you might want to see a sped up version of this. I have the links below for the actual classroom if anyone's interested in joining and coming aboard and joining our community, and enjoy. So I started off by drawing out the little picture using a grid method. I'm using my iPad, but you could do it with a photocopied sheet if you want. And then I'm using the Arteza gouache mostly for this. I think there are some colors that I'm using that are Winsor & Newton, but most of them are Arteza. And I spent a little bit of time doing some color matching and just mixing up the color until I got the color that I wanted. And I discovered a really cool thing with gouache recently. I don't know why I haven't used it like this up until now, but to mix up the colors that you want and make quite a lot of it and then put it in a little tub like this, it keeps it from drying out too much. So it's much better than just putting it on your palette. You can close the tub in between using it so that you can go back and use other colors and keep going back to it, and then that color will stay the same. So I do recommend mixing up probably more than you need, and then you can always use that color for other projects afterwards because it stops it from drying out, and you can just go back and just reconstitute it slightly with a little bit of water and use it for other projects, so you don't waste any of your gouache this way. I find that when I put it on a palette, I waste quite a lot of it because it dries out and I have to keep adding more and more water to stop it from drying out. And another handy thing to do with a project like this is to just paint everything in that one color first before moving on to the next color. So it almost becomes a little bit like a color by numbers, which means that once you've done all the hard work of sketching everything and getting everything drawn out, it's quite simple to paint it. So it's really enjoyable. You don't really have to think too much. You're just filling in all of the spaces. Remember to use different sizes of brushes depending on the size that you're painting, and I do tend to go from large to small. So if I'm wanting to paint all of the little details, I'll do them at the end. I paint all the main colors first. And I did choose with this one to paint the background afterwards rather than at the beginning, but sometimes what I do is paint the whole of the background color first and then paint all of the colors on top. The only thing about using regular gouache instead of acrylic gouache is that it does have a tendency to mix in a little bit. So for example, if this one has a really dark color in the background, if I tried to paint that yellow on top, it would have just mixed in and gone a really funny yucky green. So that's why I decided to do it this way round. Now that wouldn't happen if you're using acrylic gouache. Acrylic gouache and regular gouache are completely different. I actually have a video explaining that over on Awesome Art School, which is the class that I do alongside my good friend Karen Campbell. We have a class together called the Celtic Collective. And if you're a member of that class, there are lots and lots of fantastic lessons in gouache based on fantasy art rather than animals like this one is. And there are some videos explaining in depth the difference between using regular gouache and acrylic gouache. There are some marked differences between the two. And I would say that I don't have a preference for either one. They're good for different reasons. So you can see that as I get into the smaller details, I'm not mixing up whole tubs of colour. I'm just mixing up smaller amounts. I'm still checking the colour against my original William Morris image that I'm using and trying to colour match to some extent. It doesn't have to be perfect, of course. This is just my rendition of his painting. And this was part of a lesson in my Art Lab Association, which is my monthly club I have, where every month we do lessons in watercolor and gouache. And in fact, if you join the club now, there are 2 years worth, maybe over 2 years worth now, of lessons that you can access. You've got access to all of them for as long as you're a member. And every month I drop at least a few lessons in there. There's lots of different animals. We've got some portraits. We've got some illustrations. There's a little bit of something for everyone, really, but the focus is mostly on watercolor and gouache. So at the moment, we're doing a deep dive into different art movements and looking at different artists. And this month, I think it was a couple of months ago now, actually, maybe March, we looked at William Morris. So that's why we were doing a version of the Strawberry Thief. And then we went on to do our own William Morris kind of style of painting using the same kind of design principles. And we've since gone on to look at Gustav Klimt, and then we're now going on to look at some other artists. So I think that the lessons that I'm going to start filming for us for this month are possibly the Pre-Raphaelites, because they're a favourite of mine. I really love them. But I also take direction from what you, the students, want to do and the things that you suggest to me. All of those lessons, of course, are in real time with proper instruction. So this was just a sped up version so that you can get an idea of the kinds of things that we're doing. But if you become a member, you get access to the full videos with all the instruction, and they have supporting PDFs and reference images and all of those things that you can access, plus a Facebook group where you can post and join in the community and post your pictures and get feedback from myself or from the other students. So I hope that you enjoyed watching this, and I would love to see you over on my online school. You can click the links below and that will take you there. There are not just my monthly club, but I've also got some other classes. I've got mini classes if you want to check those out. If you want to just dive in for one class, there are individual ones that you can just have like a taster, and there are also a catalogue of a lot of my YouTube videos, so you can watch them from there as well. And so I hope to see some of you over there, and I hope you enjoyed watching this.